Welcome back to a brand new Civ 6 or Civilization 6 video. Today we're going to be tier listing the 4 new leaders in the New Frontier Pass, or as the normies like to call it, the New Leader Pass. No, you haven't been masterfully baited. I'm on the 2K account right now in order to get Julius Caesar since, he's probably one of the worst of the bunch and I still haven't linked my account and gotten him to this day. And I really don't want to give Mr. Sid Meier my search history. Wouldn't want any heart attacks or anything, would we? So instead I am going to make a new 2K account just to link it. I already have the password and the names and the email address, of course. Date of birth is going to be fucking April 1920. That is most definitely a believable day. Average age of Civ 6 players I found to be as well. Instead, I'm going to increase due to that. Would like to receive. You can send me all the news and promotional stuff you want. It's never going to reach me because you won't get my searchhistory.com isn't a real email. Let's go ahead and submit. Please enter a valid password. All right, fuck me. Let's see if this one works. I would love to give out my password to see if anyone would fucking want this account. Unfortunately, I don't really trust people not to use it to fucking back end or whatever. Don't save that password and get my other search history, so don't want that to happen. A verification email has been sent. Well, there goes my fucking plans. Alright, in any case, let's get started with the whole tier list. Unfortunately, this shit's not going to work. I'll do it on my own time or something. Start off with Abe Lincoln. Where is Abe Lincoln on the tier list? Now, Abe Lincoln pretty much has America's abilities, which are neither good nor are they terrible. They're neither great nor are they terrible. They're just good. The P-51 Mustang's about as effective as a musty basement dweller. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought there, browsing through 4chan.com, so that's not going to be too helpful. Film studio will allow me to get the new Hollywood movies, them being 90% Marvel movies now, but it's still good for tourism. Then we of course have Founding Fathers, but Abe Lincoln's leader ability is Emancipation Prostate Examination. Industrial zones give 3 loyalty, but your plantations give -2. Sometimes it's going to be a net negative because you have a lot more plantations and you can potentially get industrial zones sometimes. That's something you're going to have to look out for. But other than that, you also receive a free military unit when constructing industrial zones and other buildings. Goodness, I just grimaced at the pain of genocidal rampaging I'm going to be inflicting as Abe Lincoln. The free unit does not require resources when created or to maintain. Are you kidding me? So what powers my tanks? Is it just the sheer force of American freedom or some shit? They don't need oil. You don't need oil to make. It's absolutely disgusting. And you also receive an extra 5 combat strength. This is really strong. His leader ability is pretty much Byzantium's leader ability, except for every melee unit. Not as good as Byzantium's, of course, because he doesn't have a melee unique unit, nor are melee units, I guess, better than cavalry by the mid to late game. So early on, it's a lot better than Byzantium's Hippodrome strategy. But at the end of the game, it does become a little bit less effective. All in all, if I had to give him a tier list ranking, I'm probably going to give him A tier, I'd say. His other abilities really aren't that amazing or anything. It's mainly because I guess it was original Civ and OG Civ. It doesn't have Babylon's blink 3 times to immediately win the game button, but Emancipation Proclamation is a really good ability, and while he might not be as good as Bull Moose Teddy, he is definitely a lot better than Rough Rider Teddy, so we're going to go ahead and give him the A tier. Next up, we might as well talk about Julius Caesar right now. He pretty much has Trajan's abilities, but his leader ability is, get this, you get some money for taking out a barb encampment or city. I know what you're thinking. This might literally break the game. This might actually just, it might be broken, all right? It might be in a League of Legends type of scenario right here. This might actually break the game. But it gets better. The money increases once you research steel. Absolutely sensational. In all honesty, it's dog shit. You get 100 for a barbarian encampment and 200 for a city. It's meant to be a snowball type of leader ability, which, I mean, by the time you take out 5 cities, I'm pretty sure you're already snowballing further. It's a win more button, essentially. It gives you maybe an extra catapult every 3 cities you capture, or 2 cities in a barb encampment, and unless you have a lot of barb camps early on for you to pillage and get, 45 to 145 gold from, it really doesn't seem to be, I guess, a very good one early on, unless of course you have a lot of barb camps, but that requires RNG. And if you're playing on the higher difficulties, again, I don't want it to be a higher difficulty type tier list, but if you are playing on the higher difficulties, it's even worse because the AI starts with their own Wagner group or something and will wipe out all the barb camps for you. So you lose out on Trajan's Column, which is a free that might have been one of the best unique abilities in the game. A free monument to our grand lord and savior Comrade Susan of the Uvia Tubian, gives you 2 culture immediately for every turn, which is really strong in the early game, not to mention the loyalty bonuses. Again, you still have the Legion early on, which can get you some of Julius Caesar's money. The Bath is alright. All roads leads to Rome is pretty decent. All in all, I'll probably put him in the C tier. He isn't anything. Trajan's S tier or high A tier in my opinion. Losing out on Trajan's Column immediately puts him in the D tier. And then adding the extra gold, I'll push him up to C tier. I guess we'll see how it goes a little bit later. I will play the rest of the civs on video in the next couple of days. And then All Roads Leads to Rome it's all right. The Legion is good, but again, it's only for one era, so it's not going to be, I guess, your bread and butter. It's more so going to be the knife that spreads the butter. Pretty good, but it's not the main attraction. You're not eating the knife. I would hope not, at least. Not unless you want anal hemorrhaging. And then the Bath, of course, is pretty good. It gives you lots of housing. Housing and amenities are pretty good. Again, C tier. It's an average civ, Julius Caesar is. So, yeah, he'd be in the C tier, and to reiterate, Abe Lincoln's in the A tier. Next up, we are going to go to... Where is she at? I just finished a game with her, excuse me. Nzinga Bande. There's no shot I'll ever be able to pronounce that name right. Queen of Dongo and Matamba. Goodness, my butchering skills are absolute mincemeat levels of perfection. Cities receive 10% yields on the same continent as your capital, negative 15% on another continent. She is essentially Lady Thick Thighs. I would normally say the Wish.com of Lady Thick Thighs, but it's the reverse, right? She gets the plus 10% yields to non-capital cities within 6 tiles of the capital. Excuse me. Now, I might not be the best at math, right? Not exactly Albert Einstein in this bitch, but I'm fairly certain a continent's worth of cities is usually a lot more than within 6 tiles. So essentially, you click on the continents tab in-game, you look around to your continent, and then you just start baby making. I'm talking about China in the early 1900s. If you don't have more citizens than India by the end of the game, you're playing her wrong. And again, she can now found a religion as the Congo, meaning you are going to be able to get relics a lot easier, a lot more places to put them, with your Kisi ability still there, an absolutely monstrous cultural civ still. You have the Gaumbimba, a really strong swordsman unit that is invincible against ranged attacks, not to mention you can see through woods and rainforests with Superman's just laser vision or something. And then the Banza is probably one of the best districts in the game. 5 housing, 2 food, 4 gold. It doesn't matter if you build it right beside a nature reserve. It doesn't matter if you build it beside an active volcano or the center of the earth. It's getting those yields, meaning it's a lot more reliable than a regular neighborhood, and it's cheaper to build and available earlier. Congo's usually a B tier civ. The biggest problem with him is just the fact he can't found a religion, and now you replace that with someone who just gets a 10% boost to yields. Imagine somebody said, I'm going to give you 10% extra money. Maybe I'd be able to afford gas prices then. But again, all in all, a really strong civ. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I am going to put her in the S tier. I think she's probably the best civ. She'd be low S tier, of course. She isn't Hammer Daddy, nor is she the Civ 6 Dilf, nor is she, I guess, who else? Seondeok, even, not Korea. She'd probably be low S tier, high A tier. I'll put her in the low S tier. Really strong. Again, I would have to try her first, but the 10% extra yields. Late game, instead of 500 science, it's going to be 550. 500 culture is going to be 550, and you do that for all your yields. It's really, really strong. The last civ we're going to be looking at is going to be Saladin. Sultan Saladin, excuse me. I don't want to get my head chopped off for being an infidel. The victorious, he gets double flanking and support bonuses to all combat and religious units. That's really strong. The last video I made, I got up to 72 combat strength with my horsemen, okay? You pretty much have Arabian Knights running around slaughtering tanks. That's what's going on when you're playing the Sultan Saladin. Vizier's still pretty good, like the cheaper religious building cost as well as the extra science and culture is still really strong, make no mistake about it. But the Victorious is just an absolutely incredible ability. And again, you sort of have to think about it. I'm fairly certain 90% of the player base doesn't even know flanking and support bonuses are a thing. And getting that for both combat and religious units, while that's not going to be as good culturally or science-wise, when it comes to Big Daddy military whipping out your Civ Lifer subscriber induced dong, smacking it against the AI's lips, that is going to be a lot more damage and a lot more, I guess, rememberful. I'm not really sure what the proper nomenclature is for that term. They're going to remember it a lot more with the double flanking bonuses. And again, I got a 72 combat strength horseman without cheating or doing anything, which is extremely, extremely strong. And even for the most part, if you don't do as good as I do, you're getting 50, 55 combat strength horseman. Really good. I'm going to put him in the high A tier again. He definitely loses a lot of what makes Saladin one of the best science, culture, and fate civs in the game. He still gets the last profit though, so you can easily get Crusade. The man looks absolutely disgusting, especially with the Victorious and their healing at the end of every turn now. And the University is going to give you a huge amount of faith equal to the adjacency bonus of the campus effect. So again, Abe Lincoln's going to be A tier, the Congo leader's going to be S tier, and then Julius Caesar's going to be C, with Saladin rounding out A. They're not anything too crazy, but they are still pretty strong abilities in their own right. So always, if you do enjoy, leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future content, and we'll be continuing with gameplay tomorrow. So I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.